Hey guys, this is John Lee Hilliard from JT's Vending. Thank you guys for deciding to rock with us today on JT's Vending Services LLC's YouTube channel. Today, this video will be covering part two of the poverty mindset versus an abundant mindset or growth mindset. And the part one, I spoke a lot about the things that I did previously before I started to build generational wealth, things that I used to do that kept me poor, living paycheck to paycheck, and kept me struggling. Most people struggle with the things that I was doing, and it took me years to get my mindset to the point where it was a growth mindset, or I like to call it a God mindset, meaning I'm thinking generationally instead of focusing on me, and what I need and what I want right now. I focus on building generational wealth for my children's children. So therefore, I do things now a lot differently with my finances than I would have done 12 years ago. So that's what this video is this part two is about. So I'm trying to get the camera straight. Just to let you guys know, I am on vacation. I'm in Ohio right now, but I still am devoted to doing these videos and informing you guys on where I am and what I'm doing financially. So pray to God that someone can take this information and repeat it, do what I'm doing, and do what I'm teaching others to do, and do better with your finances, because that was my biggest downfall. Spending so much of my time looking fake rich, I ended up real broke for a long time. So let's jump into it, because I will keep rattling on about my life and what I've done. So I gave you the first video. If you go back and watch it, it had maybe five or six poverty mindset traits or negative mindset traits. And I'll give you about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll give you 7 this time, and then I'll go back and explain. Well, I'll explain each one, and then I'll go back and give you some scriptures that help me get rid of that poverty mindset. So, all right. So, the first mindset, the first trait of the poverty mindset that I used to have. And if you have this mindset, no, you can change. You have to choose. You have to decide to do better with your finances, to get rid of those traits. Because if you always do what you have always done, then you will always be where you have always been. So you will never get out of that if you continue to do the same thing over and over. So the first trait is the I can't afford it mindset. And I would only use, I can't afford it when it was something that would help benefit me down the line. It wasn't instant gratification. If it was instant gratification, I would instantly make sure I could afford it. Going out, having fun, drinking, partying, all of that stuff, chasing women, I made sure I had time for that. And I made sure I could afford that. I thought I could. But that was one of the traits that was keeping me poor. Had that when it came down to investing, saving, putting money away, building an emergency fund. I can't afford that, because I thought living on a budget and building that fund was only based off the amount of money I make, when it's not. A budget is based off a simple income, no matter what it is. That's how it works. So, number one. So number two is feeling entitled to handouts. So I used to feel entitled to handouts. I felt like, oh man, so many people got so much, they can give me some. The government can give me this. I used to brag about being on food stamps, government assistance, and I didn't, until I grew out of that mindset. I realized that poor people only brag to other poor people. You can't brag to anyone else. You can't brag to wealthy people or anybody with a business, because it don't make no sense. You're voluntarily being poor and only living off what the government gives you, and you think that's cool. So I had the wrong mindset, but that was a part of feeling entitled to handouts. Most of that was, upbringing and the culture I was brought up in. Number three, believing in lack thinking. So, lack thinking for me was, you know, if somebody else is building wealth or making money, I'm losing money. That's a lack mindset. Just because someone else is making money does not mean you're losing. It's enough resources and abundance that God has put out here for all of us. It's not going away because someone has more than you. Because you can look to your left and see someone with more money than you, and look to your right and see someone living on the street or eating out of trash, or living a lot less than you are. Look outside of your neighborhood. Look outside of the United States. You can Google this stuff, and you can see where real true poverty. People are walking to wells, or trying to go find water, and trying to go find food. Like, you don't really have to do that. So I call it what most of us suffer here is called lazy poverty. You could get out and get a job and work and provide, but you choose to do the laziest, cheapest thing possible to make some money, and then you spend that money to look fake rich. That's a poverty mindset. That's how most people stay broke. Number four is I definitely did this one: ignoring financial goals. I never set them. I didn't ignore them. I just never set them. Not setting those financial goals was keeping me in government housing projects. It kept me on food stamps because I was like, the government give me food stamps, I'm gonna use them, and I'll sell some of them so I can get some money. But then the government would only give you a certain amount, and that's voluntary slavery. They give you just enough to make it because they base it off of how many people in your house, how many of those people are you providing for, and they give you just enough just to barely get by. But poor people with the poverty mindset don't understand that that's not free. It's voluntary slavery. So they continue to not set financial goals because if they do, they feel like they're going to lose their government assistance, which they will. The government will take it. If you gather any other finances outside of what they give you, they'll take your benefits. I lived on it for 2 years as an adult, and my mom, my grandmother, I grew up on government housing, and I know how it works. So ignoring financial goals was extremely detrimental to my financial situation. But number five would be I always chose the cheapest option. A lot of times that was just didn't have the resources and being cheap to do things. And a lot of times that cheapest option was the worst option for the most part. Or it was cheap up front, but it was the greatest damage down the line. So number six is, oh man, I made excuses for my poor decisions. That's what I used to do. I used to make excuses for why it was other people's fault that I was poor. It was other people's fault that I was living paycheck to paycheck, or it's other people's fault that I couldn't get ahead financially. And all of that played a major part in me not having anything for a long time. But once I got out of that poverty mindset and realized that I'm the captain. It's a poem, I think. It's on the back of my wife's keys. I'm the master of my soul, the captain of my faith. I think that's how it goes. Uh-oh. Hold on, guys. Hold on. All right, my bad. The video was playing. So anyway, but yeah, I had to realize with the mindset I have now, my growth mindset, I focus on building wealth, investing, all the things that I avoided when I had a poverty mindset and living in the projects. I don't do that now. You have to get rid of the mindset, because you can make as much money as possible, but if you have a poverty mindset, no matter how much money you get, you will spend that money to look fake rich, and you'll end up real broke, no matter how much money you have. If Elon Musk had a poverty mindset and he inherited $1 trillion, he would find a way. His mindset and his habits would cause him to go broke by buying a bunch of stupid stuff, trying to look impressive, and go broke. He wouldn't invest. He wouldn't invest into a company. He would spend that money on either drugs or partying or trying to look fake rich. So you can't make excuses, continue to make excuses about why your poor decisions are keeping you broke.
Hey
And
guys, I apologize for interrupting the video you're watching, but I wanted to bring 2 Corinthians chapter 9 verse 7 to you. God loves a cheerful giver. We're here asking that you guys donate into our ASIR program, which is ASIR, meaning a step into reality, and help us continue to go into these low income areas, teaching young men and women how to budget so that when they become old, they won't depart from those ways. Budgeting is a lifelong skill. It's one of those skills that inner city public schools do not teach you. We all know as adults, you get that in private school, but public schools, they don't focus on the financial aspect of children need to learn to survive when they leave high school. So, with that being said, we ask that you guys go to our website right up here, and at the very top of the page, you'll see a donate button. Donate whatever your heart leads you to donate, whatever God puts on your heart to give. But we just ask that before you press that donate key, you just do a quick prayer. If you're a Christian, quick prayer asking God to help our ministry move throughout those communities with that need the bigger impact of this financial literacy coaching that we have. Our coaching comes from Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University. It comes from the personal finances from the middle school, the elementary, middle school, and high school curriculum. And we teach it from a fully interactive standpoint so that more young men and women can grasp the concept of what we're doing through playing a game and interacting with it so it'll stick better. So guys, thank you. If God put on your heart to support us, please support us financially if you can. If you can't support us financially, please continue to watch these videos. It helps the algorithm pick us up and it gets us out to more men and women so more of the young children that are on social media can see that we're coming to the area as quickly as possible, trying to push financial literacy and help them build that financial aptitude so they won't spend their lives spending all their money to look fake rich and end up real broke. So thank you guys so much for supporting us and back to the show.
and number six, because my wife just texted me and told me the kids up and we got to get ready to roll in 30 minutes. So I'm gonna wrap up real quick. But number six is I used to refuse to invest in myself. That was not the major, but that was a part of that poverty mindset when you only focus on instant gratification, things you can get right now, and you don't realize you should invest in yourself for additional education, wisdom, knowledge about what you're trying to do and how you're trying to do it. So you wouldn't ask a warehouse worker about investing in the stock market or investing in your retirement plan. You wouldn't go to a welder and ask him about investing in real estate. So if you're refusing to invest in yourself, you're literally, I guarantee you're talking to a lot of broke people that know a bunch of ways to get rich quick, and all of them, and they're still broke. So you're listening to broke people talk about things that they don't know, but they're guessing it works, and you go, "Oh, that might work," and you try it without even investing in what kind of research you need to do or investing in yourself for the knowledge, and then you go broke or you don't have the money. You go, "I ain't worried about it. We're going out to the club tomorrow. We're going out drinking. We're going out club. We finna go chase women." And then you go, "Man, I'm broke because..." No, you're broke because your mindset. The six traits I just gave you guys, those were six out of many of the traits that I used to have. And when I gave those up, not give up, I didn't give those up. I started to read. I started to read and I started to want to do better. So you can go back and read Romans chapter 8, verse 31 through 39. And all of these are biblical principles of how I got my finances in order, how we run our business, how we run our YouTube channel, how we run our vending machine business. Like all of it is from the Bible. I teach people how to serve your fellow man. That's how I build my wealth. I just serve. That's simply what I do. I just serve everyone. I don't have a specific group. A human being who eats, I serve them. Simple as that. So, don't have too much time to get in depth into it right now, and I'll do it with a follow-up video. But so, if your goal is to end that poverty mindset, you can go back and read 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 7 through 9, 1 John chapter 4, verse 4, John chapter 10, verse 10, and that should be like the Good Shepherd when Jesus was using the parable of the Good Shepherd. And it'll explain to you that that Jesus promised us a life of abundance. He didn't promise us a life of poverty, because the blessings of the Lord maketh rich and addeth no sorrow with it. That's what the scripture tells you. If the blessing of the Lord wanted you to be poor, it would have said the blessing of the Lord maketh poor. So you see what I'm saying? Like, get in the Bible, read your scripture, read these scriptures. Proverbs chapter 10, verse 22. Proverbs in general is a rule of thumb that I use. It's not the word of Jesus. It's not like God's promises in Proverbs. That's in Proverbs. It's just saying if you do these things, you will have a better outcome. It's not saying if you do and you guaranteed to have a better outcome. But if you live as close as you can, as I do now, if you compare my life to what it was 12 years ago to now, come on, man. Like you. So I'll show you guys when we get back toward my neighborhood down south. I'll show you where I grew up, and I'll show you. You got people eating out of garbage, robbing, stealing. Hopefully I don't get shot when I go over there, but I'm gonna do it anyway, just to show you guys like where I came from does not dictate where I'm going. It's not who I am. Oh, sorry about that, guys. My wife called me. She said we gotta go, so I gotta wrap everything up. But like I was saying, where you come from does not dictate where you're headed. You are the master of your soul, the captain of your fate. You can control your decisions. I know you guys heard older people say you reap what you sow. If you sow horrible seeds, yeah, you're gonna get a horrible crop. And that don't mean it's gonna come back tomorrow or next week or next month. Mine came back 12 years later with a woman who is vindictive. But I sowed those horrible seeds, and I made those mistakes, and now I'm paying for it. So I got to take it as a loss. But what I'm telling you, even financially, if you don't not doing anything about your financial future, is still horrible, because you're not sowing anything, so you get nothing. So therefore, please focus on building something. Have a plan. You can budget a minimum wage paycheck. You can budget $12 an hour. You can budget $17 an hour. I do it. I show you guys on my YouTube channel. You can budget $17 an hour to where you can live pretty good. But if you're trying to live outside of your means and look fake rich, then you're just gonna screw it up. So, guys, have a blessed day. Be safe. I'll come back to you later after this. I think we got a wedding, dinner, a lunch, a rehearsal, some stuff like that. But you guys have a blessed day. Au revoir. A bientôt. À la prochaine.